If you did not play the Unova Tour last year, this event could be described as unmissable. We're going to run through the full event details, a counter guide, but overall a strategy and an ultimate guide to really maximize your rewards on this day and to see, is this even worth playing in 2026? This is Kyurem Fusion Raid Day with Go With Us. Kyurem Fusion Raid Day will be taking place this Saturday, the 10th of January from 2 to 5 p.m. local time. Because it's only a 3-hour time frame, it's not going to be the easiest to maximize, so we're going to offer you our best strategies. During this 3-hour time frame, Reshiram, Zekrom, Black Kyurem, as well as White Kyurem will appear more frequently in raids, and it looks like they're going to rotate every single half an hour. So for the first half an hour of the event, it's going to be Reshiram and Black Kyurem, and then it's going to be taken over by Zekrom and White Kyurem. All of these legendary Pokemon are incredibly helpful in the game, but because we really want to focus on Black and White Kyurem, especially getting the fusion energy, it's important to mention that you will not get fusion energy by completing Zekrom or Reshiram raids. You will only get the fusion energy by completing Black Kyurem or White Kyurem raids, and that's why this is going to be a little bit more tricky. Trainers can receive up to 5 additional free raid passes per day, but if you didn't do a raid the day before, you will get a total of 6, but it's actually going to be 7 as well, because you get that free raid pass on the same Saturday, so you'll actually get a total of 7 free raids, which is absolutely incredible. There's going to be an increased chance to encounter Reshiram, Zekrom, as well as Kyurem coming from these Black and White Kyurem raids, and that shiny rate is going to be 1 in 10, so the opportunity of a Shundo on this day is probably going to be the highest it's ever been. And it looks like they have made the change to the remote raid limit, which is going to be increased to 20 on Friday as well as on a Saturday, so you pretty much have 2 days to use 40 remote raids, especially if you're raiding ahead of your time zone. Every single one of these legendaries that we get on this day will have their legacy move. So for Reshiram, it's going to know Fusion Flare, the fire type move. For Zekrom, it's going to know Fusion Bolt, which is an electric type move. And for Kyurem, it's going to know the move Glaciate, which is an ice type move, but Glaciate is incredibly important because that is the move Kyurem needs to fuse with one of the other 2 Pokemon. Let's talk about that fusion now and how it actually works. Trainers that have Kyurem with Glaciate can fuse with Zekrom to get Black Kyurem, and the same goes for Kyurem with Glaciate fusing with Reshiram to become White Kyurem. But in order to get these fusions, it's going to be a little bit tricky because it is quite expensive. In order to get Black Kyurem, you're going to need a Kyurem with Glaciate, and to fuse it with Zekrom, you're going to need 1000 Volt Energy, 30 Kyurem candy, as well as 30 Zekrom candy. And to get White Kyurem, you're gonna need a Kyurem with Glaciate, as well as 1000 Blaze Energy, 30 Kyurem candy, and 30 Reshiram candy. The difficult thing here is the energy, because to get both of these fusions, you're gonna have to do plus minus 20 raids, because the amount of energy coming from these Black and White Kyurem raids is going to range between about 70 to 150 if you're very lucky. So you can see where we're going with this. Those 7 free raid passes that you get part of the bonuses are very important to use, but I would strongly suggest now, if you do not have the fusion energy, please consider buying the $5 ticket, which includes the following. It gives you another 8 additional free raid passes from spinning gym discs for a total of 15 or 16. So guys, this is really going to chip away, especially if you do about 10 raids of each to try and get enough energy. You're also going to get increased chance to get rare XL candy coming from these raid battles. You're going to get 50% more XP coming from these raid battles, as well as 2 times the Stardust. I don't know when these Pokemon are going to come around again. This is a really, really good ticket to get, because to get the amount of fusion energy, especially if you have none, this is probably going to be your best opportunity. Alternatively, if you can only remote raid, I would strongly suggest getting your remote raid passes from the web store to buy that 2 remote raid pass bundle at a time. I think that's probably going to be your best bet. However, consider going to the store on the day or the day before, because there may be certain boxes which have green premium passes, maybe a bundle of 7 or 10 or 15 or even more that you can't afford, especially if you are trying to hunt the hundo of Kyurem specifically, because remember, your stats when the fusion takes place, the stats as well as the shiny form comes from the Kyurem. It doesn't come from the Reshiram or Zekrom. So technically, your Reshiram and Zekrom are simply there as fusion tools. Those are some important details out of the way, but how are we going to take down Black and White Kyurem specifically? Because those are going to be the Pokemon we really want to focus on, again, to get that energy. As we move on to our strategy and counter guide now to take down both of these Pokemon, it's always best to isolate one at a time as well as their weaknesses. Now let's kick off with Black Kyurem. Black Kyurem, when it's fused, is a dragon as well as an ice type Pokemon, which means it is weak to 5 different things, which is going to be dragon, fairy, fighting, rock, and steel. So the best Mega Pokemon you could use to take this thing down, for example, is going to be Mega Lucario, Mega Blaziken, Mega Metagross, as well as Mega Garchomp with Dragon Tail and Breaking Swipe. In terms of the fusion forms, your best counter is probably going to be Crown Sword Zacian with Metal Claw and Behemoth Blade, Duskmane Necrozma with Metal Claw and Sunsteel Strike. The best shadow counters are going to be Shadow Metagross with Bullet Punch and Meteor Mash, Shadow Dialga with Metal Claw and Draco Meteor. And for some budget counters, you could use Lucario with Force Palm and Aura Sphere. You could use Metagross with Bullet Punch and Meteor Mash, Terrakion with Double Kick and Sacred Sword, and an honorable mention for something like Blaziken with Counter and Aura Sphere. And let's just look at White Kyurem very quickly. It shares the exact same typing again of Dragon and Ice, so the counters are going to be very similar, but let's just run through them again. Crown Sword Zacian with Metal Claw and Behemoth Blade, Crown Shield Zamazenta with Metal Claw and Behemoth Bash. You can use Mega Blaziken here with Counter and Aura Sphere. Duskmane Necrozma with Metal Claw and Sunsteel Strike. Mega Lucario with Force Palm and Aura Sphere. The best shadow counters are going to be Shadow Metagross with Bullet Punch and Meteor Mash. Shadow Dialga with Metal Claw and Draco Meteor. We do have Shadow Palkia in there with Dragon Tail and Draco Meteor. Shadow Blaziken makes an appearance here again with Counter and Aura Sphere. And for some budget counters, you could use Lucario with Force Palm and Aura Sphere. You could use Metagross with Bullet Punch and Meteor Mash. Terrakion with Double Kick and Sacred Sword. And an honorable mention for something like Blaziken with Counter and Aura Sphere. Just before we touch on those 100% IVs, these Pokemon can easily be duoed, possibly even soloed with the absolute top counters, which I think is so sick because it gives you an opportunity to keep the party small so you don't have to rely on other players. Once you defeat Black or White Kyurem, you will get an encounter with Kyurem, which is going to be the unfused form, and that will come with Glaciate, which is a guaranteed move, and of course we need that to make those fusions as we discussed earlier. The 100% IV for Kyurem is going to be 2042 and non-weather boosted weather, but in windy or snowy weather, because of the dragon and ice typing, it's going to be 2553 for the guaranteed hundo, so screenshot that if you want to remember. Now that we have our Kyurem with Glaciate, you can either fuse with Zekrom or with Reshiram. But what happens when these fusions actually take place? On Black Kyurem's side, Glaciate, once it fuses, turns into the move Free Shock, which is a brilliant ice type move and that can be used in many different areas for the specific Pokemon. But the other thing that happens once it takes on this Free Shock move is going to be the adventure effect of Free Shock. For a total cost of 5,000 Stardust as well as 5 Kyurem Candy, and for 10 minutes at a time, you can activate Free Shock, which is going to increase the catch rate of any Pokemon by 25%, as well as keep the Pokemon still on screen, and we're going to show you an example right now. And for White Kyurem, once the fusion takes place, Glaciate is then going to turn into Ice Burn, which is also a brilliant move. But what Ice Burn's adventure effect does, for a total cost of 5,000 Stardust as well as 5 Kyurem Candy, for 10 minutes at a time, Ice Burn will be activated, and it's actually going to increase the catch rate by 50%, so it's more than Free Shock. But what it does as well is that it slows down the ring, so it gives you a chance at hitting that excellent throw a lot easier. The best time you really want to be using these adventure effects is on like a spotlight hour or a very difficult raid day where you're going after Mega Rayquaza. The Pokemon may be moving around a lot, but also their catch rates of certain Pokemon are increased. The best thing about these adventure effects is that they actually carry through your devices as well. So if you do have a Go++, it's literally going to make Pokemon a lot easier to catch, because those bonuses, whether it be the 25% on Free Shock or the 50% on Ice Burn, those are going to be activated through your catching device, which is incredibly helpful too. You might be thinking, great Mikey, those adventure effects are cool, but how good is Black and White Kyurem in the game, especially in 2026? Well guys, let's start off with their base stats. They share the exact same base stats. They have a max CP of 5206, which is astronomically good. They both have an attack value of 310, a defense of 183, and a stamina of 245, which is incredibly good. But let's just start off with Black Kyurem. As a dragon type attacker with Dragon Tail and Outrage, it is going to be the 8th best dragon type attacker in the entire game. With that Free Shock move though, on the ice type side of things, it's going to become the 2nd best ice type attacker in the entire game. Incredibly good. In the Master League as well, it's currently hovering around the 10th or 12th spot, which makes this Pokemon formidably good. Just take a look at these rankings in both of these categories. Not often do raid days like this come around where the Pokemon are incredibly strong. Let's move on to the White Kyurem now. Guys, White Kyurem as a dragon type attacker with Dragon Breath and Dragon Pulse becomes the 22nd best dragon type attacker in the game, so it's not as good as Black Kyurem on the dragon type of things. But guys, as an ice type attacker with Ice Fang and Ice Burn, it becomes the best ice type Pokemon in the entire game, probably for the foreseeable future. This is why this event is unmissable, and it doesn't end there. In the Master League, it's currently ranked around the 6th or 7th spot. You can just see, guys, these rankings are incredibly good. These Pokemon are so useful for you, and this is why we say it is purely unmissable. And let's just say you get very unlucky or you run out of time. Even Kyurem on its own, so this is without the fusion, Kyurem as a dragon type attacker is still in the top 40, and even as an ice type attacker with Glaciate before the fusion, guys, it is still the 18th best ice type attacker in the entire game. And if we just focus on Reshiram and Zekrom right now with their speciality moves, which are coming on this day, guys, as a fire type attacker, Fusion Flare makes Reshiram the 6th best fire type attacker in the entire game, and for Zekrom, knowing Fusion Bolt, it becomes the 7th best electric type attacker in the entire game. Guys, every single one of these Pokemon are going to offer you huge utility, and even in the Master League right now, all of those Pokemon too are hovering around the top 10. I know I keep saying it, there are so many benefits to this day. If you guys are going to be doing Reshiram and Zekrom raids as well, maybe as remotes, and you still want to know those 100% IVs, remember, and non-weather boosted weather, it's going to be 2307 for the hundo, but for Reshiram in windy and sunny weather, because of its typing, it's going to be 2884 CP, and for Zekrom side of things, if it's windy and rainy weather, because of that electric typing as well, it's also going to be 2884 CP. Key details are out of the way, but what are some tips to really help us maximize this day? Now, let me just say, candy gains for this day are incredibly important because we want the candy, but specifically XL candy, because there's effectively 4 different Pokemon that we might want to max out all the way to level 50, which of course is going to be your Black Kyurem, your White Kyurem, your Reshiram, as well as Zekrom. The great thing about all of these Pokemon is that they share one specific typing, which is going to be Dragon. I would strongly, in fact, it's not even a recommendation, you have to Mega Evolve a Mega Level 2 or hopefully Mega Level 3 Dragon type Pokemon in the background, so you can potentially use it as a counter in these raids, but more importantly, it's going to be extracting as much candy, but specifically XL candy for you every single raid. Just to do the math for you very quickly, every single legendary you catch is going to grant you 3 candy. If you do have the Mega Level 3 bonus active, you're now going to be getting an additional 2 to make it 5 candy. If you manage to catch the legendary on a Pineapple or Silver Pineberry, we're talking 8 or 9 candy per catch, on top of the XL candy, which I believe is a guaranteed 3 every single legendary you do catch, and you could potentially get up to 6, on top of the fact that you would be getting rare XL candy if you did have the ticket. Candy on this day is absolutely massive. Remember to Mega Evolve your Dragon type Pokemon. Tip number 2, and I'm going to make this a brief one, is going to be about XP. If you do have the ticket, again, you're going to be granted 15,000 XP per raid. Strongly recommend throwing on a lucky egg, which means every single raid now you're going to be getting 30,000 XP per raid battle. But do not forget that we're also in the middle of the Pinch Perfect event, and one of the main bonuses there is 2 times catch XP for catching Pokemon, which means if you land an excellent throw, which is the easiest way to catch these legendaries on this day because it increases your catch rate slightly, guys, we're talking up to 35,000 XP per raid battle per excellent throw on a catch. That is astronomically good. This is what the pros do, especially if you are still trying to chip away at the level 80, which I know a lot of us are. Tip number 3, and this is going to be a little bit more miscellaneous, but guys, do not forget that there are certain Pokemon that have evolutions that are triggered by raids, and the first couple I can think of are going to be Galarian Yamask as well as Hisuian Quillfish. You need to equip these Pokemon as your buddy and complete 10 raids in order to trigger their evolution. A lot of people either don't have this in their decks or they've just completely forgotten, because it's one of those evolutions that you might have just put at the back of your mind and you may not even have it on your deck's entry. More than that, there's another Ultra Beast Pokemon, which is going to be Poipole, which requires us to catch 20 Dragon type Pokemon as well as have 200 candies in order to trigger its evolution into Naganadel. You can see where I'm going with this as well. Catching a lot of these Dragon types on this day is going to help you chip away at that, so remember to put these Pokemon as your buddy if you still need them for your decks. Tip number 4, how do we make this day as easy and effective as possible to maximize our rewards? First and foremost, remember, in the season of Precious Paths right now, our friendship level with our friends matters when it comes to putting out damage in raids. So that's the first layer that's going to help you, especially if you're raiding with best friends. The second layer here is that you need to use the party play feature. A lot of people keep forgetting to do this on raid days. It literally doubles your damage. Every single time you click that blue icon on the bottom left, it's going to times your damage by 2. And if you have 3 or 4 trainers in a party, you're gonna see a huge difference, especially in weather boosted weather if you are using attacks that's getting boosted by weather. The third thing here is that if you already have a Black Kyurem or White Kyurem and you have enough Blaze or Volt energy, please remember to use the adventure effects here now. This is exactly what I was speaking about earlier, because especially on something like Ice Burn, that adventure effect is gonna slow down the ring, which is gonna help you throw that excellent throw a lot easier, but it increases the catch rate by 50%, which means it dramatically increases your chances to catch these Pokemon as quickly as possible, because we only have 3 hours to do this unless you are going to spend money on remote raids, but a lot of people don't want to pay money for remote raid passes. Guys, trust me, this is another huge tip that a lot of people look over. It doesn't end there, because we have mentioned level 80 quite a few times to you guys, but as you know, to get to level 80, you need 50 platinum medals, which is not the easiest thing to do at all. The great thing about these days is that you can actually chip away at a few of these platinum medals in the background. The first one is going to be your Dragon Tamer medal, which requires you to catch 2,500 dragon type Pokemon, which is not the easiest to do because dragon types don't spawn very frequently. This is a huge day because all of these Pokemon are dragon types, so you can chip away at that. Next 3 medals we would touch on is going to be your Rising Star medal, which is going to require you to defeat 150 different species of raid bosses, your Champion medal, which is going to be to win 1,000 raids, as well as your Battle Legend medal, which requires you to win 1,000 legendary raids, which is even harder. Now that we've shown you everything, is this day worth your time, and are these Pokemon even worth going after in 2026? Absolutely, they are clearly some of the best Pokemon in the game and will be for the foreseeable future. If you guys want to see everything going on in Pokemon Go this week, we've just done a full breakdown. We release a video every single Sunday. You guys love those videos. Please smash that like and subscribe button. This is your ultimate guide for Kyurem Fusion Raid Day. We love you guys. Go with us. I know you're going to smash this day out of the park. Please let us know in the comments how well you really do. We're going to be playing it super hard. Finally, I get to play with Jazzy because I haven't seen him in some time, and he is the main editor of this channel. Love you guys. Please smash the like and subscribe button again. Really appreciate your support. We want to grow with you in 2026. It's going to be a banger. Love you. Go with us. See you in the next one, baby. Shh.